Okay, hi, it's Aston. My room is in a mess. Anyways, I want to say we're going to make another macroeconomics video, 2 in one day, because I had a lot of free time recently. So now we're going to do the purchasing power of parity, or purchasing power parity. So essentially, what the purchasing power parity is it's a hypothetical exchange rate between one standard basket of goods from one country to another. It's a good way of measuring the true exchange rate between countries, basically. So the reason why, I mean, you might be thinking, like, hey, why don't we just use an exchange rate, Now, the thing is about exchange rate is that a lot of countries have a fluctuating exchange rate. It's not fixed like Dubai and the US dollar. It's not always fixed. So these fluctuations can change the actual price level of economies. So you can't really compare them as well. The purchasing power parity, is more accurate. It's not just nominal or at a certain time and place. This compares it for a year, or maybe you could do it for multiple years, and it's pretty accurate too. So let's start off with this. Now we have Netherlands and the US. So the quantity of good one for Netherlands is 25, quantity of good 2 for Netherlands is 30, the price of good 1 and the price of good 2 for Netherlands is 1 and 0.5 respectively, while for the US, the quantity of good 1 and good 2 is 500 and 1000 respectively, while the price is 3 and 1 respectively. My ones might look like 2s, so I apologize for that. Now let's calculate the real output, or the expenditure, or GDP of Netherlands. There's a lot of ways you can put GDP. I actually expand on that on the last video I did, so if you want to watch that, just giving you an idea. Okay, so anyways, we know it's just the price of Netherlands multiplied by the quantity of Netherlands, and that we can just see that it's going to be 1 into 25 plus 0.5 into 30. So it's going to be 25 into 1 plus 30 into 0.5, which is just going to be equal to 40. Quick math, baby. So that's the Netherlands GDP or whatever. And now what about the US? Okay, well, this is also very simple. It's going to be the sum of the price in the US times the quantity in the US. Okay, that's quite easy. So the price of good 1 is $3, and the output is 500. So we're going to do 500 into 3 plus 1000 into 1, which is just going to be equal to 2500. See? That's wrong, brother. Now look, a lot of students make this mistake, right? The thing is that we might do the math correct, but in math and in economics, the units are also pretty important depending on the question. And in this case, especially when comparing GDP and purchasing power parity, we need values and we need the currency. So in the Netherlands, it's going to be 40 euros, while in the US, it's going to be $2,500. Common mistakes students make include the currency, please. All right, cool. What's the next question going to be? All right, now the next part is we have to form a basket. Now, the thing is, usually you'll do a $1, €1, 1 something basket. Now, that basically means with $1, how much of good 1 and good 2 will a consumer buy, is what they're trying to say. Now, this is pretty straightforward. So first, you'll get the quantity of good 1 and good 2. Okay, the quantity of good 1 for the US is 500. So we'll do good 1. Let's start with good 1. Good 1. And now we'll see it's 500, and we divided by our GDP, which is 2,500. And that should give you 1 over 3. And now for good 2, we'll do the same exact thing, 1,000, and we'll divide that by the GDP once again, and that is going to be 1 over 5. 2 over 5, my bad. There you go. Alright, yeah. So, what do we do with these values over here? So we got 1 over 3, 2 over 5. That means that a $1 basket in the US will always contain, will contain 1 over 3 good 1 and 2 over 5 good 2. That's it. That's a $1 basket. Now, thankfully, you don't have to do this for both Netherlands and the US. You just have to do it for one country. Okay, cool. So now we know the $1 basket. What's the next question asking? This is the most important part. Now, this is how you actually find the hypothetical exchange rate. So first, actually, what we will do instead is we will get the prices of Netherlands, which we already have, 1 and 0.5, and instead of multiplying it by Netherlands quantities, we'll actually multiply it by the quantities of good 1 and good 2 from the US in their $1 basket. So that would mean that in this other question, we'll do €1 multiplied by 1 over 3 for good 1, so 1 over 3 plus 0.5 into 2 over 5 for good 2. And that should be equal to 0.4 euros. That's the exchange rate, 0.4. Okay, so essentially what that means is that for every 0.4, that'll be equal to $1 basket. So the 0.4 euros for this exact same basket of goods over here is equal to $1. Does that make sense? Okay, wait, let me re-explain that. Okay, so a $1 basket in Netherlands costs 0.4 euros, which is where this hypothetical exchange rate comes from. Because if you plug in these same exact quantities for Netherlands, you'll get 0.4. Hence, that's the exchange rate. The hypothetical exchange rate is 0.4 euros is equal to a single dollar. Now, I say hypothetical because this isn't real and it's just a case, just an example. That's why these numbers are so specific. If you actually try doing this in real life, you have multiple goods, and you have multiple prices for a lot of firms, which is why it can be really hard to find a purchasing power parity, which is why we take into account specific goods, not the entire market, which is where the exchange rate helps, balance things out a little bit. And it's a lot easier to use the exchange rate compared to using the purchasing power parity, but it is still important to learn in macroeconomics. So now that we have the hypothetical exchange rate, let's calculate the GDP of Netherlands into dollars. Okay, so we know that in Netherlands, YNL is equal to 40 pounds, right? Now, how much would that be? Okay, so let's do it over here. So 40 pounds, this is actually pretty easy. Sorry, 40 euros. Now, that's, how much is this by? It's times 100, which means that it's going to be equal to $100. So therefore, the Netherlands GDP taken into account as US dollars is 100. Pretty straightforward. That's the video, pretty short. I'm gonna go clean my house. It's in a mess. You can literally see the dust everywhere. I haven't cleaned this guy since I got back from Dubai. Restarting, especially starting from ground up, is very hard because when you have momentum, you have streaks going, and it's much easier to build discipline. But once you reset everything and you have to climb back up, it's always the worst. But strong man falls down 7 times, he gets up 8. Doesn't matter how many times you fall, it matters how many times you get up. I actually failed 2 of my exams, accounting and principles 2. And principles 2 is way different from principles 1. It's not a book, it's a bunch of articles, and honestly, super boring. I never liked it for principles 2 because I love economics, I love math, but when I have to read different articles about these digital firms and everything, I get super bored. I don't want to learn about AI. I don't really care about this, man. I just want to teach and preach, bro. That's it. But accounting, that was stupid. It's a small little mishap in accounting. I did really well in the final, but then I did super bad in the midterm because I didn't study for the midterm. So total, I failed, but I did pass the final. Anyways, that's enough about me. Go ahead, enjoy your days. Bye.